What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Boyce, and you're here for another episode of the Facts Project. Today, very special guest here to talk about Terminus Veil, Volume 1, the action mystery comic that's not out right now on Kickstarter in the last few days. Jack Harris Jr., thank you for being here, brother.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate being here, James, man. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, not a problem, man. So to get right into it, I'm going to say my first inclination of this book and this campaign by itself, pretty much Newton Lillewald put a repost out of basically the campaign as when it first dropped.
Yeah.
And I saw the variant cover that was done by Giancarlo Bernal, and I was like, oh shit, what is this? So to all of us that necessarily haven't heard of the book or haven't had a chance to read the summaries or anything like that, if you could explain Terminus Veil, Volume 1 as you see it.
Yeah. So Terminus Veil is basically a story about a private security team that is transporting a new invention. It's kind of top secret, and they get attacked. Guys in helicopters come down, just start spraying at them. They're trying to figure out, like, what's going on? Why are we even being attacked? And that kind of turns into a bigger mystery. It's a long running series is the plan. Our volume 1 basically holds issue 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, it's action. It's a lot of diverse characters. Really that team element, if you like team books, that's kind of the feel of it.
Mm-hmm.
With a little bit of influence from like anime, Ghost in the Shell, stuff like that.
Right. It's funny because when you brought up in the subline where it was like basically for you Ghost of the Shell fans, I was thinking of myself, Jinro, because I'm an older cat. So Jinro, the Wolf Brigade.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I know you're talking
that's
about.
what I was thinking of with this. I was like, oh man. So when you say private security firm,
Yeah.
are you necessarily describing mercenaries?
They really have that identity kind of crisis going on a little bit, where their leader Chuan is very much like, hey, we're not mercenaries. We do bodyguard work. We do, transporting of equipment, high tech equipment, valuables. While some other people on the team are like, hey, like whatever pays, whatever gets the job done. So they have kind of that, there's some little bit of uh dissonance on if they're truly mercenaries or not.
Yeah, and necessarily the way I'm reading it through the series, there is an interesting, I guess, dynamic between the leader, what is it, Quan
Yeah.
Gong,
Yeah,
and
you could say Quan or you could say Chuan, either way.
got you, and Dr. Edward Clarence.
Yes, yeah.
Now, is this who they work for?
They don't work for Edward Clarence. They work directly for Chuan. Edward Clarence works for a large corporation called Dynamic Technologies, and that's the equivalent of, what if you had Lockheed and uh, a healthcare company, all just any kind of technological technology that you can think of, from military grade equipment to again, healthcare inventions, stuff like that. He
Mm-hmm.
runs this company. He's their chief scientist, chief engineer there, and he's pretty much the antagonist of Terminus Veil. He's been stealing and orchestrating robberies of other people's IP and tech. And Chuan's aware of it, and so they're both kind of caught in this struggle because both of them are aware of each other and that they know about each other. Um, and so that leads into some of the mystery about Terminus Veil. Chuan knows stuff about Dr. Clarence that the rest of his team doesn't know, and he hasn't shared it with them. So that causes a little bit of infighting between him and his team sometimes.
Right.
So it gets really interesting on that type of stuff.
Man. Now, would you because you actually gave like a little bit of a preview of the first 4 pages in the summary for the Kickstarter. Would you describe this first volume, just this first one, as basically how it kind of the twists and turns start to happen as a heist first?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a heist first, and that's what you really get to see in issue one is the first heist, and the Guardians basically the first time they get attacked
Hmm.
across in from all these sequence of robberies that's been going on, and how they react to it, right? And some of their members are like, "Hey, like we got to figure out immediately who's attacking us." Some of them are like, "All right, whatever, like it's just another day at the job."
Right.
Um, and that kind of leads into more two and three, issue two and three, go into more of what the team is doing, as well as what Dr. Clarence is doing. And issue four kind of ends it out with another big part of another heist, where the team is involved, and it's just action packed. So I describe volume one as really an introduction to the story, a really introduction to the characters,
Hmm.
and all of the key players. And as we start to get to volume two and volume three, you really start to get into, all right, what is the mystery all about? Why are these things happening? And it's not just straight up material gain.
Yeah, and you obviously putting this together. I know you basically talked about it. It took over about like 10 years for you to make.
Yeah,
And I can honestly say just from that viewpoint, because you're actually trying to write into the script of like what 16 members. So everybody's
yeah,
got their own personalities.
yeah. Yeah. It's tough trying to fit everybody in and getting a good feel of who each person is. But I really try to showcase a couple characters per issue, so you kind of get to really know them. And
Mhm.
then when you see that conflict and that infighting in the team, you understand why.
Yeah, because what is it? I guess Dash is like the rookie of the team,
Yeah.
and uh, I guess he walks in on somebody in an unprovoked manner,
Right. Right.
right? And they're pretty much ragging him for it and everything like that. But everybody that's been around the team for the most part understands that like most of them are just talking shit in the first place.
Yeah. It's a lot of bickering and fun. I like the idea of they're adults, right? And they're people who put their life on the line. A lot of them are ex-military, so
Yeah.
they have no problem crossing a few lines as far as jokes.
Nah, I hear that. Now, when we're talking about you taking over 10 years to put this together, what initially was the spark that basically caused for all this to happen?
Yeah, man. I've I've loved comics since I was a kid. And I've been reading them, probably since 7, 8, 6, 7, 8 years old. Um, and so when I was a kid, man, I really thought I was going to create comics for a living. That's what I kind of pictured for myself.
Hmm.
I went to the counselor with my parents and was like, "Yeah, that's what I'm doing." They were like, what?" And so it kind of things kind of changed. I ended up being a software engineer,
Hmm.
and it's been pretty good, but it's not fulfilling. And so
Right.
a couple of years ago, you know, a long time, 2009, I came up with the idea of Terminus Veil. I just started creating characters, started creating events, really world building,
Yeah.
and just did that over and over. And as 2020 hit, I was not in the best place as far as career and work. I just did not like it. And so I was like, you know what, I gotta find something that fulfills me, find something that and I remember just going back and thinking about it, like I always wanted to do a comic. I've been writing on this story, like there really is no reason to wait. And so yeah,
Hmm.
man, I just took it from there, started writing the full script to issue one, building the art team. And that's that. But I've always loved it, man. And
Yeah.
when I like so when I started Terminus Veil, it really was just me, just kind of a quick idea of a character in the story, and I was like, you know what, let me just add on.
Right. Right. Now, also in the same breath, I mean, also self-described as an MC.
Oh yeah.
So I
I
mean,
used
being your love of music and everything, you've had an opportunity to look at things not only through the music but through a visual sense. So when
yeah.
writing the script out and everything and talking to writers about how the look should happen and everything like that, that I'm sure that type it kicks in after a while.
Yeah, man. That was what made script writing. Like people ask me if it's hard, and I'm like, it's not hard to me because I'm used to writing bars, and bars are they can be hard sometimes when you're trying to catch the beat.
Mhm.
With scripts, you're in charge. It's almost like you feel like a producer more than you feel like a rapper sometimes.
Word.
Because you're so in charge of it. But um, yeah, man, like I used to rap. Oh man, I started rapping when I was like 16, 17. Started just writing stuff, and then when I got about 21, I really tried to pursue it for a good 5 or 6 years, and it was a big part of why I created Terminus Veil. When I came up with the idea, I was in the middle of writing a song. I used to like to, put bars together that, you talk about like having superpowers or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so that just made me kind of like, you know what, like I could write a comic, and so yeah, um, yeah.
Now, had you had ever put anything together before Terminus Veil? Is this like your first crack at it?
This is my first professional crack at it, other than just doing the kind of fun stuff you do as a teenager or a kid.
Man, because like literally out the gate, man, you put up just a 4K goal, and now it's been jumped up to like 12. Man, if you was an independent artist and everything in music right now, you'd be hitting.
True, true. I learned a lot though. Like I learned a lot from rapping as an artist that of what it means to market, I think. And I think that I took a lot of that with me when I started Terminus Veil because you really, I think when I was rapping, I loved to write and make songs. But I didn't handle the business. I didn't handle the marketing. I didn't
Hmm.
handle that well, and I didn't. Ultimately, I don't feel like I was successful. I had fun. I loved it. But ultimately, I don't feel like successful. And that was one of the things that I didn't want to slip in this scenario was, hey, look at, find out the lay of the land, and the people who you need to talk to and learn from.
Yeah.
Really try to understand the community. And so yeah, I took all of that very seriously, and I think that played a major part in why we were successful.
That's what's happening. Now you chose another option as to where a lot of creators type to go. Some people might have had the opportunity to put this out for single issues, 22 to 26 pages. You decide to go to graphic novel format and just go full in, be like, you know what, I'm done this portion of the book. So you're
Yeah,
giving us a trade early.
yeah, yeah.
Why do that?
Well, I started with single issues, right? Like I self-funded all my single issues 1 through 3, and then I just brought them all together for the volume one.
Hmm.
But I mean, you know, I I think from a business standpoint, graphic novels, volumes, trades, they're a little easier to manage when you're indie like this than floppies. Floppies are um they're just when you look at the pricing, you have to do the cost, and then you're talking about how do you make that work in a store.
Yeah.
It gets weird, right? Like, we $10 a floppy is kind of what I see at cons, right? Which I think is where I'll ultimately be priced at. Right now, we've been doing them for 5 to get the circulation and get the word out, but
Hmm.
I think that's where we're going. But a $10 floppy in a comic book store it's a different feel. You know what I mean? When people are choosing between X-Men and
Yeah.
right, like they've got a ton of choices, and not just on the big two side, but also on Image, Boom, Dark Horse, all of these
Hmm.
indie. They're still much lower than that. But I think when you get into trades, that pricing becomes a little more hazy, and you can be at something that works at the indie level. Um, and so that's kind of why we really focused on volume one versus focus on the issues. I'll always have floppies. I got floppies at stores now. But yeah, trades is where we feel like the real the real part of the market's at for us. You
That's
know what I mean?
true. That's true. And now you being from Georgia, Georgia's starting to be like a mecca of creatives that are around there lately. Like,
Oh man, I was blown away once I really, I got into it. I started seeing the community, and you got Godhood out here.
mhm.
They're doing big things. Man, there's a lot of creators down here. I mean,
Yeah,
every time
Najee
I go
from
to
Concrete.
Concrete, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, no, it's a lot of us down here. So yeah, it's definitely bubbling down here.
yeah. Because I was about to say, like, as far as like the culture of what it is, as far as like the creators that are out there, when you have like Atlanta Comic Con and was it Dragon Con that are down there?
Dragon Con, yeah,
When
Momo
when
Con.
Yeah, so when you go down there and y'all all meet up and you just basically like see this world be like, yo, this is just regional
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're popping.
But yeah, I mean, it's surprising, man. Like I didn't realize. Like I really got a. The last year has been eye opening how many people and are down here. They really moving books. And you see them in the stores. There's a big uh black comic book store down here, Challenges,
Mm,
owned by Tony Cade. And when I go in there, I see he's got a really great selection of black creators, and indie creators. And so I go in there and look, and I'm just like, man, okay. So it
hmm.
lets me know what level I got to be at when when we're trying to build our team, trying to put
Word.
books out. You know what I mean? Like it's it's getting good, man. And I just seen some books when I'm looking on Instagram. I'm like, goodness, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting real, man.
But so for this trade, as opposed to the floppies, your art team has grown and your variant covers have multiplied.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So if you could, like the art team is like probably like 16 deep. Like
yeah,
for
yeah,
somebody that's like putting this out, like putting the volume out for the first time, like how'd you get all these people together?
man. So it really is more, like I broke the book down one through four, so it kind of helps that a little bit. When I was first doing issue one, I was just reaching out to artists. I reached out to Jordan Gunderson, and he was like, "Cool," like he thought he was going to be able to do like 2 or 3 issues for me, and I was like, "All right, bet." So that should be a good block, and he had some other contracts that he was basically obligated to, so he can only do 1 issue for me. So then I was like, all right, well, we're back to the drawing board. Let's go find another artist. And so again, we found another artist, got him on, and it was probably the first wake up call for me about um, how much I needed to understand about the business of working with artists. Because he did a great job, not taking anything away from uh, De Silva, but he wasn't uh, on the same page with me business wise. And so I was like, all right, well, I got to make another change. So we
Right.
do that. Go to issue three, make another change again, kind of the same story. So that's probably why we have so many artists on volume one. Initially I wanted to I want to really rock with the same art team over and over and over again,
Right.
which is what I'm planning on doing. We got for issue four, Delio Diaz, Frank Alpazar. They're set to do issue five, set to do issue six, and everything's been really great with us. So I don't see any changes in the future. But yeah, that played a part on why from the interior side, but from the variant side, man, it was just me wanting to have fun, man.
Yeah,
And
man. Yeah, because you brought out some heavy hitters.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like Bernal, obviously, just seeing all the work he had did for Dream Fury. And I mean, I love Keisha, Demon Eater. It's just
Yeah, man.
one of I feel like as an indie book, it's one of the best indie books I've seen put together from
Hmm.
a small creative team. So had to get him. I seen he was open for commissions. I was like immediately on Facebook,
I
like, hey,
remember when
hey.
he did that.
I was like, hey, hey. So there was that, and the Zon brothers, they always are on Kickstarter. Every Kickstarter campaign, I feel like I see them doing a variant. They had did one for Joystick Angels that
Hmm.
was really dope, and
Yeah.
so I was just like, man, let me see if I can reach out. So reached out, and they were like, yeah, we can do it. Um, and then, oh man, I met
Marcus Williams.
oh yeah, of course, Marcus Williams. Again, one of those seen some Marcus Williams rarely open for commissions. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking on his profile all the time, like you open. So I happen to be on his pro. No, no shit. I'm on the pro. I'm driving on the road, and I stop at a red light, and being a horrible driver that I am, I look at my phone, look at Instagram just on some random because I think somebody had DM me or something. So I looked and just seeing the feed, and he came up on my feed and was like, I'm taking 5 commissions right now. And when I tell you, I tried to type that shit in right then and there on the road, like,
How you
hey,
was
let me
driving?
get in. Yeah, let me get in. Let me get in. Let me get in. What does it take? So yeah, when he got on it, man, what he did with our character body, man, that was awesome. I thought that was just beautiful. Everything he does is dope. But
Yeah, man.
oh, man, yeah, I thought that was it. And then we met at MomoCon. I met Asia Fullmore, and
Mm,
she had a booth there. She was selling her Amethyst book, and so I looked at it and was like, all right, this is dope. And so got that book. I read it to my daughter at night. Um, and I was like, man, let me see if I can get a cover for her. So yeah,
right.
man, it was just like, just reaching out, man. I just wanted to have a lot of fun with it. I thought it'd be exciting for fans, and it's definitely always cool to work with people in the community, man.
That's true. That's true. And good segue because I mean, you bring up the point of family, but you have family that basically helped you put this together, correct?
Yeah, 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 yeah. My wife is a big part of the graphic design, all the layouts, all of our promotions as far as when we're doing stuff for cons. So yeah, she's a huge part of what's going on. And then I got family members. My sisters are always helping me out to run tables, which is, if you ever ran a con, it's
Oh
everybody,
man,
anybody who knows about it, is
you can't keep your eye
it's a
on
lot.
everybody.
Yeah, man, it's a lot, and it's not just like, hey, I'm gonna be at my table all day. It's like you do want to connect and go see other people, so you got to get up, and then
Hmm.
so it's always good to have somebody there running it with you. So my sister's been a big help on that, and then overall, my family's been real supportive, man. Like, they're a big part of the reason why day one we funded. A lot of family members was just like, hey, man, you doing it, so we gonna support. So
That's what's happening.
gotta have it, man.
So recently you just got back from DreamCon. So how was
Yeah.
that experience being over in Austin, Texas, and all that heat
Uh,
the past 3 days?
Man, DreamCon it was amazing. The heat was a whole deal, but no, it was amazing, man. Meeting a lot of creators there was great. We ended up selling out of issue one Sunday, which was the first time we'd ever sold out of a book at a con like that. So that was dope. Um, we ended up going to they had like an industry mixer on Saturday night with the
Yep.
RDC World, and that was cool just to be out there. And me and my wife had way too much to drink. Went to the after party, had way too much to drink, and then then I realized as we were walking back to the hotel, like, damn, I got to get up and run this table
You gotta do the table tomorrow.
tomorrow. But no, man, it was fun. Barbecue, we had some good barbecue out there. Got to connect with a few people we know. Almost Vintage, he's a comic collector. He took us out to eat. Man, it was awesome, man.
That's what's up, man. That's good. That's good, man. So overall, the experience from basically putting this trade out and understanding what has the reception been?
Yeah, it's been good, man. I've had some people that have directly came back to, like, seeing me at a second con or at a second event and was just like, man, issue one was dope. Man. You got two and three on you. Like, I'm getting them right now. Which is always good. I think that's the best feeling. From a critical review standpoint, we've done okay. I think there's um me growing as a writer and as a creator, there's some stuff I can definitely learn to clean up.
Okay.
And I think we got plans to bring in an editor for issue five, so I think that'll help out a lot with
Yeah.
some of that. But overall, I mean, I feel like just from the people who I've seen buy it and come back and talk to me, like, it's been a good, man.
Yeah. Now, is the plan to go back and just go into issue five and just like have that as the floppy, or just like literally
Yeah.
continue on and try to do a volume two right off the bat, like take a little bit more time?
No, we're gonna do floppies again. I think I don't like to leave. Like, if we do a volume two, it'll be, probably a year before somebody gets to read what happens next. And I think it's just cool because there are some people who they really don't want to do trades. They want to do floppies. And
Yeah.
as long as I can get them to you at a reasonable a reasonable way, like, I don't mind doing floppies.
Or
I don't mind getting them printed. I think the biggest deal is just trying to figure out how we get them to you. But yeah, if, we're gonna sell floppies on our site. We'll probably have, I know we'll have floppies in stores all through Metro Atlanta. We'll probably have floppies regionally as well. And if anybody ever just if a store owner is like, hey, can I get floppies from you? Like, I'm gonna give you them.
Right.
But yeah, it's so we'll do floppies for 5 and 6, and then we've got plans to do a one shot for our character body.
Okay.
Um, and so we'll try to have those basically the production of issue 5 and the production of the one shot going in parallel.
Mm.
So we expect the one shot I'm expecting to be about 45 pages. So we expect it to be probably, early spring before it gets out. But I think issue 5 will it's a good chance issue 5 will be out before the year's ended. So
Okay.
yeah.
So if anybody wanted to get their hands on like single issues, basically issue 1, 2, 3, 4, without having the trade, because the trade is a part of the Kickstarter,
Yeah.
is there a website they could get to in order to get that in their hands?
Yeah, terminusveil.com. Normally we're normally you could buy it right now.
But
We
DreamCon wiped you out, brother.
Drink God wiped me out a little bit, but also the we turned our site off.
Mhm.
Or we turned the store of our site off while the Kickstarter was running because we don't want
Oh,
to have to try to
yeah.
fulfill, and that we are trying to push you a little bit to get the volume with us if this is their first time with us. So but it'll be back on the store will be back open on the 10th, I believe. And so yeah, if you want to get issue 1 through 3, just let us know. And issue 4 should be out probably in the next month. So
Perfect, perfect, man, brother, man. Look, I appreciate you being on with me. I I look forward to finally getting this in my hands, and I know you're looking forward to this campaign being done, so you can finally get into the distribution of this damn thing. So
yeah.
this has been dope, man. So from James Grandmaster Facts voice, Jack Harris, Terminus Vale, still on Kickstarter for the next week, and then it is a wrap. But we are out.